Welcome to Life Extension's lecture series for 2009. My name is Dr. Michael Smith, and today's topic is the real story on arterial plaque. Did you know that 16 million people in this country suffer from coronary artery disease? Another 8 million suffer from heart attacks. 6 million have strokes. And 5 million suffer from heart failure. When you consider these statistics, this topic is something we all need to be aware of. Life Extension has identified 17 risk factors. We like to call them the 17 daggers that puts your heart at risk. The 4 steps we've put together to prevent arterial plaque incorporate these 17 serious risk factors. But first, let's look at what a normal artery looks like. We used to think that an artery was just like a pipe. But what we've learned is that there's 3 living layers. And the most important ones are the inner layer, called the intima, and the middle layer, called the media. The intima, that inner layer, is made up of endothelial cells. These cells are very metabolically active, and it's important to keep them healthy. The media, which is that middle part, is where smooth muscle cells are. It's also important to keep them healthy too. This next picture is a cross-section of an artery with a plaque. Here you can clearly see that innermost layer. That's where the endothelial cells are. They're dysfunctional and damaged because of the plaque. That next middle layer is where the smooth muscle cells are, the media. They're way too thick and damaged. And this becomes the focus of our 4 steps to prevent arterial plaque and the damage the plaque causes. So let's briefly review the 4 steps to prevent arterial plaques. Step 1, we're going to teach you how to assess your risk. Step 2, we're going to show you how to preserve the endothelial cells. Step 3, we're going to show you how to reduce the thickness of the media, those smooth muscle cells. And step 4, we're going to teach you how to stabilize arterial plaques and keep them from causing problems. Step 1, assess your risk. Remember, back at the beginning, I introduced that there were 17 risk factors, or daggers, that put your heart at risk. For a better understanding of these risk factors, call one of our health advisors here at Life Extension, and they can help you identify these 17 daggers and see which ones are putting you at risk. What I want to focus on are some important blood tests that you can consider with your doctor that again help to assess your risk for arterial plaque development. These tests are not in any specific order, but the first one I want to mention is what is called a VAP cholesterol test. This is a very detailed analysis of your cholesterol levels that better assesses your risk for plaque development. The second one is called a Plaque 2 test. This one assesses your risk for having an acute event, like an acute heart attack. The third one is fasting insulin. Fasting insulin has been shown in some good studies to promote the development of plaque through insulin resistance. The fourth one is a new one. Your doctor may not have even heard of this one. It's called fibronectin. Fibronectin is a blood test that specifically looks at how healthy the endothelial cells are in the intima, that innermost layer. The higher the fibronectin, the more dysfunctional those cells might be. Another test is homocysteine. Homocysteine is an inflammatory marker that can damage the artery wall. That goes along with the next test, the C-reactive protein. The higher homocysteine and the higher C-reactive protein, the greater the risk for plaque development. The last 3 blood tests include the ApoB1. This allows cholesterol to stick in the arteries. Another one is the LDL particle number. LDL cholesterol is the bad stuff. L stands for lousy. The higher the LDL particle number, the greater the risk for plaques. Lastly is the ApoA1. This is associated with the good cholesterol, the HDL. The H stands for happy. The higher the ApoA1, the less the risk for plaque development. So now that we've assessed your risk, let's move on to step 2, which is to preserve the endothelial function. Remember, the endothelial cells line that inner layer called the intima. We've got to keep them healthy. It turns out that 4 nutrients have been tested, and these 4 nutrients preserve the function and health of those endothelial cells. Can you guess which nutrients have been tested? If you guessed pomegranate, cocoa from dark chocolate, CoQ10, and resveratrol, you guessed correctly. These 4 nutrients have been shown to preserve the function and health of those cells that line the intima, that inner layer called endothelial cells. For information on the dosing of these nutrients based on the literature, why don't you call one of our health advisors here at Life Extension? So now let's move on to step 3, which is to reduce the thickness of the middle part of the artery called the media. That's where the smooth muscle cells are. Life Extension suggests superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD or SOD. This is a powerful antioxidant that has been shown in several studies to reduce the thickness of the middle part and prevent plaque formation. Finally, step 4, stabilize plaques. You know, the billion-dollar question that we get asked here at Life Extension is how can we get rid of plaques? Well, there's a lot of good research looking into that. But what we want to focus on today is how to stabilize plaques. Because if a plaque is stable, it doesn't cause the problems of like a heart attack or a stroke. Have you ever heard of collateral circulation? Probably not. This is when a plaque is stable and the body is able to divert blood around the plaque with new blood vessels, preserving the blood supply to the heart. Let's see how we might stabilize plaque and avoid the medical consequences. There are 4 nutrients I want to discuss. The first one is vitamin K2. This is a special form of vitamin K that helps to put calcium into the bones. By doing that, it keeps the arteries healthy and it keeps the plaque stable. A second nutrient are the omega-3 fatty acids from fish. Fish oils in many studies have been shown to also stabilize plaques and may help to avoid those medical consequences. Another nutrient are called citrus pectins. These are forms of fibers that help to clear the blood of some of the things that cause plaques to be unstable. And finally, there's the common garlic. Garlic has been shown also to stabilize plaques and may help you avoid, again, those medical consequences. So in conclusion, there are 4 steps to prevent arterial plaques and avoid the medical consequences. Step 1, assess your risk with blood tests. Step 2, preserve the endothelial function. Step 3, reduce the thickness of the middle part of the artery. And step 4, stabilize the plaques. My name is Dr. Michael Smith. Thank you for viewing this Life Extension video.